When you are at point A and you want to get to point B, most people would make this mistake. They focus on the question, how do I get there? But here's the problem, the how is out of our control. The how will reveal itself to you during the process, because your curiosity will naturally lead you towards the right direction. You will know intuitively what to learn and how to progress. You get drawn to it naturally. So the better questions would be, what do I want and why do I want it? And knowing that the how will come from itself. It's a subtle mindset shift that will help you overcome your self-sabotaging tendencies during a process, and it will ensure that you are going towards the right direction. And at the end of this video, I'm going to show you a quick practical exercise that has completely changed my life and that I regularly do with my clients as well. So hello, I'm David and welcome to my channel. I don't know about you, but when I always wanted something in my life, I always focused on the question, how do I get it? So you can see this is where you currently are and this is where you want to go or what you want to achieve or who you want to become. Yeah? And this is the gap we have to overcome. Yeah? This could maybe be missing skill set or resources or whatever. When I was younger, it were oftentimes things of a more superficial nature, let's say, usually sex or looks or money, usually. Yeah? So the question was, how do I get that? And as I said, this is the problem. Because the older I get, the more I realize it's way more about the questions we ask than the answers we find. And much better questions would have been, what do I want and why do I want it? Because the how comes from itself and it constantly changes. And that's true for everything you commit yourself to. The how will reveal itself to you during the process. Your curiosity will naturally lead you towards the things you have to learn in order to progress. Yeah? You get drawn to that naturally and intuitively. And you know, as long as you are committed to your what, to your one thing, the universe will open doors to you. It will bring people into your life. It will, bring you towards the right pieces of information in forms of books, podcasts, whatever. Like there are so many ways. Okay, I'll give you an example out of my own life. When I was 17, I could never get girls. You know, it was like a really big pain point in my life. Surprisingly, a few years prior to that, it worked a lot better, but I guess I just got weirder when I started taking drugs all the time. Anyway, so what I wanted was an abundant dating life, yeah, let's say. And as the stupid and underfucked teenager that I was, I wanted several hot women simultaneously, optimally, yeah, of course. But the question is, why do I wanted that? To be super real with you, to polish up my fragile little ego back then. And of course, if I would have achieved this goal a few years later, I would have come to understand that this was a stupid goal to have to begin with. Aiming for sexual pleasure instead of connection is empty. And the best sex you can have is with an emotional connection. Aside from that, it would have been extremely energy consuming to handle several women simultaneously. But to get to the point, how would I achieve that goal? In the beginning, I started with going to the gym. I was in very bad shape, so I started going to the gym all the time. Yeah? That later transitioned into learning to play the guitar, which afterwards changed into dealing with all my emotional baggage that I have accumulated over the years, and then eventually healing my family relationships. All those things, they led to me becoming a bit wiser, and as a result of that, my perspective has changed. Instead of looking at the outside for the perfect partner, I worked on myself to become the best partner I can possibly be. So my new why was to attract the right woman. And I thought that will bring me in the best position to eventually attract the right partner for me. And I still do think that. So far there's nothing groundbreakingly new, but I just wanted to point out the how is constantly changing in the process. The what and the why as well, but not that frequently. And that's usually connected with more insight. Okay, let's jump into the practical exercise that I mentioned earlier. So it's a journaling exercise, and as I said, the right questions matter. A superior question leads to a superior answer. So here is the current you, and you're striving towards your ideal self. which is just a good metaphor for striving uphill, I think, because we will never arrive at a place where everything is settled. I mean, how boring would it be if we would come to a place where we wouldn't have anything left to do? Anyway, this is the gap we want to overcome. So what we do, firstly, we create awareness. What are your current beliefs, thoughts, feelings, and actions in regards to the goal you want to achieve or the problem you want to solve, yeah? And then write it out. Go in detail here. Next, we become aware of how that ideal version of ourselves, who already solved the problem, who already achieved that goal, would probably think, believe, feel, and act. And you know this inside yourself. And as soon as you have figured out those two perceptions of those two versions of yourself, you know what is the gap in between. In my coaching, this is a vital step to set the right goals and to remove the blocks that are in the way. Understand that if your ideal version of yourself is able to believe, think, feel, and act in that particular way, your current self is too. As soon as you know what you want and why you want it, the how will come from itself, my friend. Sometimes we imagine that we miss so much. Intelligence, looks, resources, whatever. We're all constructing our reality with stories we continually tell ourselves. And that's oftentimes all it is. Just a story. The problem is though when it is a toxic story for us. Then we have to continually make us aware that this is just bullshit. Bullshit that's in the way and that is keeping us small. Anyway, I was a little bit sick that week, so if that video was a bit unstructured or confusing, I apologize, but I hope the core message came through. If you want to see a video on how to maximize your productivity, where I do a book review on The One Thing by Gary Kepler, click here. Aside from that, thank you very much for watching, my friend, and goodbye.